Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Pauline Bennett. In this week's news, cops and firefighters honored by Legion Auxiliary, Township says no to pot businesses, and a public hearing set for proposed snow ordinance.
Stay tuned. Learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. Last week, the Village Council voted 5-0 to direct the manager and attorney to draft a memo of understanding with representatives from Rotary Club of Oxford. The memo would outline what's expected of the village and what's expected of the Rotary Club as the project advances. Last June, Rotarians approached Council with the idea of creating a public park using 2 small pieces of vacant village-owned land. Rotary is planning to fund its park project by soliciting tax-deductible donations and purchasing grant opportunities. Councilwoman Maureen Helmuth, who lives across the street from the parcels, supports the Rotary's park proposal. For many years, Helmuth has advocated using the land in a manner that maintains it as open space and preserves its natural features. Helmuth pointed out there are already paths running through the property created by people crossing it on a regular basis.
Oxford Township allows many different types of businesses to operate within its boundaries, but pot businesses will not be allowed. At its February 13th meeting, the Township Board voted 5-2 to adopt an ordinance that prohibits all marijuana establishments. It will take effect on March 22nd. Voting in favor of the ordinance were Supervisor Bill Dunn, Clerk Curtis Wright, Treasurer Joe Ferrari, and Trustees Elgin Nichols and Patty Dorr. Voting against it were the Trustees Margaret Payne and Jack Curtis. Those who violate the ordinance will be guilty of a civil infraction and face fines of not less than $100 or more than $500.
More time to shovel, 1 warning per season, lower fines for violators, and that sums up the proposed changes to the Oxford Village's snow and ice removal ordinance. Residents with comments, questions, and suggestions regarding the proposed amendment are invited to participate in a public hearing on Tuesday, March 12th, beginning at 6:30 p.m. It will take place in the Village Council chambers. Under the existing ordinance adopted in September last year, whenever naturally falling snow or ice stops accumulating, it must be removed from the sidewalks within 12 hours after the event. Under the current ordinance, the minimum fine for a first offense is $50. Penalty increases to $150 for a second offense and $500 for additional offenses within any 3-month period. Just to be safe, Village Council President Frost recommends individuals use their cell phones to take a photo of their cleared sidewalk.
Officials voted to approve the issuance of up to $400 million in tax-exempt private activity bonds by the Arizona Industrial Development Authority at the February 13th Township Board meeting. The proceeds of which would be loaned to the nonprofit Great Lakes Senior Living Communities so it can purchase 8 senior living facilities in Michigan and Ohio. AZETA is a nonprofit corporation that's designated as a political subdivision of the state of Arizona. It issues both taxable and tax-exempt bonds, the latter of which are used by private borrowers to lower their financing costs, as the bond interest is exempt from federal tax income. Of the $400 million requested, up to $47 million would be used to buy Independence Village of Waterstone. The facility contains over 140 units and currently has an occupancy rate of around 97%. 5 of the other facilities are located in the Michigan communities of Midland, Grand Ledge, Plymouth, White Lake, and Bear Creek. The remaining 2 are in Ohio.
As a reward for their continued service and round-the-clock dedication, American Legion Auxiliary Unit 108 held its annual awards ceremony for public safety personnel last Sunday afternoon. Following a buffet dinner, certificates of appreciation were presented to members of the Oxford Village Police Department, Oakland County Sheriff's Office, and Oxford Fire Department. 5 members from these 3 agencies were singled out to receive special honors for their commitment to their job, service to the community, and willingness to go above and beyond the call of duty. Congratulations and a big thanks to Brian Schick, Robin Zanin, Reynolds Grant, Bruce Mack, and Dave Furman. Thanks again.
According to Addison Township Supervisor Bruce Pearson, it might be time for the community to think about having one trash company serving its residents. Currently, residents have the opportunity to choose their own trash hauler. He said some residents have reported that their trash has not been picked up in 3 weeks and knows of one company that has decided to stop servicing Addison residents. Because of this, Pearson hinted it might be time for the board to take up the matter. Because the matter has not been formally looked into, Pearson said he does not know if some residents, like those who have summer homes in the area, would be able to opt out of a trash tax. In any case, he said it is time to fix the problem of trash not being picked up.
Oxford Public Library will soon possibly expand their building, and an architect has been hired to help answer many of the questions. Over the next year and a half, the library will be working with Seth Pinchansky, an employee at the Ann Arbor-based Daniels and Zermatt Architects, to conduct a feasibility and schematic design study to determine if an expansion is warranted, and if so, what the options are available. The library board previously voted to authorize Daniels and Zermatt to begin the feasibility study and an amount not to exceed $26,000. Pinchansky is no stranger to Oxford Library. When he was a senior associate with the firm of David Milling and Associates from 1995 to 2004, Pinchansky served as project manager and project architect when the library was initially built. Construction of the facility was completed in 1997. While with that same firm, Pinchansky worked on the expansion and renovation of the youth department, completed in 2002. With his current firm, Pinchansky served as a principal architect and designer for the expansion and renovation of the library for the teens and technology areas, completed in 2005.
On Saturday, February 16th, the founder of Sherman Publications, Inc., passed away at Independence Village of Waterstone in Oxford. He was 92. Nicknamed Big Jim Sherman, was well known and respected in northern Oakland County for having established a prosperous chain of publications that continues to serve Oxford, Lake Orion, Clarkston, Brandon, and Ortonville with a combination of local news and advertising. Visitation and funeral services were held earlier this week. Our deepest sympathy goes out to his friends and family. The family asks that the memorial contributions be made to the Northeast Oakland Historical Society and the Rotary Club of Oxford.
Pauline, I want to say that just a couple things. For one thing, Big Jim is certainly an icon in the community for most of his life, and he certainly will be missed.
He will. He truly will. He was so well known, and he's done so many things for Oxford.
Yep. The other thing I'd like to mention is about trash. Understand that there are certain scrupulous people that drop their trash off in the community in a beautiful area in Addison Township and in Oxford as well, in our township. So those are issues that we need to confront. You folks out there, if you see anybody doing that kind of thing, contact your main administrative office for your township.
I agree. I mean, that the trash throwing on the roadside, there really isn't a need for that, and I don't understand why people do that, because in the end, it's your neighbors or the residents that pick this up, put it with their trash, or they do call Addison Township in some cases to say there's something large in the roads. So yeah, I wish we could solve that issue and before spring comes, actually.
It's probably 1% of the people that we have difficulty with. Hopefully that's small enough, but that should stop.
And it might not even be from our area.
That's true. It's probably foreigners that are bringing in trash. Well, we talked enough trash, didn't we?
Yes, we did. So that's the Oxford News for this week. If you would like to learn more about these stories and others, you can catch us on our website, occtv.org, on YouTube, and of course our regular cable channels, Spectrum, Channel 191, and T-Channel 99.
Coming up soon, OCTV's very own Cody Wright with school sports, then school news incorporating great topics with Alexis Ware. And you won't want to miss Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
I'm Pauline Bennett. Thanks for watching Oxford News this week.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
You are watching OCTV News at the news studio. Yay.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, Elon Musk has revealed images of his assembled Starship Hopper test rocket as the entrepreneur continues to explore ways of one day sending people to places as far as Mars. The SpaceX founder shared the first real images of the prototype from its Texas launch site, telling Twitter followers it's not a rendering. This is for suborbital VTOL, or vertical takeoff and landing test, Musk explained. Orbital version is taller, has thicker skins, which won't wrinkle, and a smoother curving nose section. This particular model will be used to test short launches and landing. Earlier this month, Musk said SpaceX was aiming to carry out test flights within 4 weeks, but admitted it could be as long as 8 weeks when unforeseen issues are factored in. The design of the rocket resembles the classic spacecraft from 1950s aerospace fiction, such as the film Destination Moon. Responding to questions from space enthusiasts, Musk said that the first orbital prototype should be ready by June. In November, the rocket was renamed from Big Falcon Rocket to Starship. Back on the ground, evening primrose flowers can hear approaching bees and quickly make their nectar sweeter in response to the sound. Lilac Hadney and colleagues at Tel Aviv University in Israel collected nectar from flowers before and after exposing them to a range of sound, including the recording of bees and synthetic noises. Within 3 minutes of exposure to bee sounds or artificial sounds of a similar frequency, the flowers increased the concentration of sugar in their nectar by 20% on average. There was no change in sugar levels in flowers played no sound or higher frequency sounds. Bees are highly sensitive to differences in sugar concentration, preferring to go after higher calorie nectar. By improving the rewards on offer, plants may benefit by encouraging the pollinators to spend longer visiting the plant or visit more flowers of the same species. Enhancing sugar levels when pollinators approach might also help a plant save energy in the long run and reduce the risk of nectar being degraded by microbes or stolen by ants. Nectar can be a significant energy investment, and thus keeping a consistently high level of sugar can be wasteful, says Hadney. How plants detect the sounds of bees is unknown. However, using highly sensitive laser instruments, the researchers found that the evening primrose flowers vibrate when played recordings of bee or moth sounds. Hadney thinks that flowers may receive sound pressure in a way similar to our ears. When petals were removed from flowers, they vibrated less when played the sound clips, suggesting petals may help receive and amplify pollinator sounds. Previous research has found that some plants can hear the vibrations of caterpillars eating their leaves and retaliate with repellent chemicals. Wow. Some flowers only release pollen efficiently when bees cause them to vibrate at a specific frequency, a technique called buzz pollination. Keep it up. In our last story, IBM has unveiled its first quantum computer designed for commercial use, the sleek-looking IBM Q System 1. The company says it has no plans to sell the device, but will instead allow customers to perform quantum calculations over the internet. Quantum computers offer the promise to vastly outperform regular machines at certain tasks by exploiting, that is, the strange properties of quantum physics, though as of yet no quantum device has achieved this milestone. The Q System 1 has 20 quantum bits, or qubits, while most researchers expect that the first devices to achieve so-called quantum supremacy over ordinary computers will require at least 50 qubits. IBM has spent the past few years making increasingly powerful quantum hardware available to the outside world. In 2016, it put a 5-qubit machine online free for anyone to experiment with, but this is the first system designed with commercial clients in mind. The device is housed inside a temperature-controlled glass shell that is designed to preserve the qubit's fragile quantum state. The idea is to reduce maintenance and make using the Q System 1 more like working with a regular mainframe computer. IBM is not the first company to offer a quantum computer for commercial use, however. In 2011, D-Wave Systems announced partnership with aerospace giant Lockheed Martin to use its 120-qubit processor. The company's machines, which rely on a technique called quantum annealing, are generally not accepted by researchers as true universal quantum computers. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
Hello and welcome back to School News. Hope you all had a lovely weekend. Last Friday was a lot of fun with Oxford High School hosting their Paws Assembly and game against Lake Orion. Lake Orion did come out on top, with the final shot being from the free throw line that won the game for the Orion Dragons. To see highlights from that event, stay tuned to the Schooling Around segment at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. The next Paws game will be held at Lake Orion March 15th. Going into the news for this week, today OMS has their pre-festival band concert and Oxford Virtual Academy is having their informational webinar. So don't forget to log on to their website today if you're interested in some online classes. Students are allowed to dual enroll both as a traditional student at one of the local Oxford schools as well as with OVA. Tuesday, the high school is housing their Board of Education meeting at 6:30 until 8:30 p.m. Wednesday is an OMS parent night as well as an OHS pre-festival band concert. Thursday, Oxford Middle School has their parent-teacher conferences from 4 until 7 p.m. And finally, Friday begins March, which means spring is on its way. For some fun opportunities, the Oxford Downtown Development Authority is still sponsoring their contest for Oxford students for the 2020 M24 construction project. Students participating must enroll in one of the Oxford Community Schools, or must be enrolled in one of the Oxford Community Schools, and will be asked to create a construction slogan and marketing image. No more than 4 words, and the image shouldn't be too busy. The winner of the contest will receive a $200 Visa gift card. To submit your entries by email or phone number, contact dda@villageofoxford.org or 248-770-8587. Entries can also be mailed to the DDA office at 22 West Burdick Street. Remember to include a full name, address, email address, and phone number. Remember, the deadline is this Friday, March 1st. We have our first student host of 2019 joining us next week, Michaela Haywood from Oxford High School. She's a senior this year and demonstrates outstanding leadership skills and behavior. Stay tuned for next week's episode of School News and Schooling Around to see more of Michaela, as well as a special interview with Oxford alumni Paige Parent. Until next time, I'm Alexis Ware.
What's going on, Wildcat fans? Cody right back here once again for this week's Sports Report. We got a lot to go over this week as we close in here on the last few weeks of the winter season. Soon we'll be starting our spring sports schedule with baseball, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, and much more. Anyhow, let's not waste any more time and dive right in. Well, the boys basketball team didn't skip a beat after taking their first loss of the season. Now we only have one game left until we start playoffs next Monday at Lake Orion High School. Since then, we have taken down Lapeer 66-29, Seaholm 46-42, and Pontiac once again on the road 76-39. The boys' record now sits at an incredible 18-1, and we take on Hazel Park one last time to end the regular season. With a deep bench and a solid starting lineup, it looks like this team is ready to have a great playoff run. We certainly look forward to reporting on some great games in the future. The girls' record is now 12-4, which is a great record as well. Let's not forget that seasons like the boys are having do not happen often. Both boys and girls basketball is absolutely phenomenal this season. The girls recently grabbed 2 more wins, one against Rochester Adams on the road 63-40, and then taking down Kingston here at home in a tight finish 33-32. Like I said before, the girls' season has been overshadowed by the boys, but that isn't saying that the girls haven't had a great year. It's just that the boys have had a record-breaking one. We most definitely look forward to how the rest of the girls' season does play out. On the flip side, the Oxford and Avondale United boys varsity hockey team hosted senior night at the Detroit Skate Club last weekend, taking on a very good hockey team, a combination of schools in the Farmington area. The boys fell hard early in the third, 8-0, but we celebrated the fact that this group of guys, a very small team in numbers, held their weight this season and showed character, work ethic, and a ton of improvement. And that is what rebuilding years are made of. We also said goodbye to 3 seniors, Aaron Angelo, Zach Rao, and Ben Pratt. We wish them the best of luck with their future hockey careers. Also, the boys' swim team finished up their regular season in a dual meet here at home, taking on Lake Orion and Utica Eisenhower. We took the win in both matches, 108-78 against Lake Orion and 111-74 against Utica. The boys have an overall record of 9-1. The team is now focused on postseason and getting more state cuts. So far, freshman swimmer Carson Wolf is the only Wildcat slated to swim at the state meet. And last but certainly not least, the girls cheer team gained their spot at regionals, taking the 4th and last spot open in the district. Alongside Oxford in District 6 is Lake Orion, Romeo, and Grand Blanc. Regionals will take place over the weekend, and 24 teams total will battle for 8 open spots to go to the states. We certainly wish the girls the best of luck. And that is going to do it for this week's report. For any more info on these events and more, go to oxfordathletics.org. There's plenty of game breakdowns, statistics, and rosters all right there for you to check out. Once again, that is oxfordathletics.org. While you're at it, might as well check us out at OCCTV.org. All of our coverage of these events and more can be found on our YouTube page, which you can access through the website. Once again, that is OCCTV.org. I want to thank you all for watching and remind you to tune in next time. But until then, I'm Cody Wright. Go Wildcats!
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, Mercedes-Benz newest entry-level model will launch in the U.S. with a sticker price ready to move sheet metal. The A-Class subcompact will start at $33,495, including shipping. The all-wheel drive version starting price will be $2,000 higher. The average selling price for a new car in the U.S. is about $35,740, according to Kelley Blue Book. Mercedes expects to release demo units of the A-Class to U.S. dealers this month, with sales beginning in February, Automotive News has learned. The A-Class is powered by a 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine that produces 188 horsepower and 221 pound-feet of torque. It's billed as a gateway vehicle designed to draw the next generation of customers to the luxury brand. By 2020, the A-Class is expected to account for about 5% of the brand's U.S. sales, according to IHS Markit. Mercedes has primed the A-Class to lure millennials, consumers roughly ages 22 to 37. The A-Class introduces a next-generation infotainment system that will migrate across Mercedes' model line. The Mercedes-Benz User Experience, or MBUX, is a user interface that learns routines and preferences of the driver. MBUX can recognize patterns and predict navigation routes and radio stations based on the time of day. Typically, you have to learn the car, Bernard Glasser, Mercedes Director of Product Management, told Automotive News, but with MBUX, the car learns you. The A-Class will also offer a suite of driving assistant technologies, including the ability to drive semi-autonomously in certain conditions. Camera and radar systems allow the sedan to monitor traffic more than 1,500 feet ahead. The A-Class also uses map and navigation data to predictively adjust the speed when approaching bends, junctions, and roundabouts. The interior comes standard with two 7-inch displays, which can be upgraded to a 10.25-inch screen. The A-Class nudged out the CLA, which starts at $34,095 as Mercedes' least expensive vehicle. And at General Motors is partnering with 3 leading electric charging providers to create a more convenient network of more than 31,000 chargers for its EV owners. The automaker has announced collaborations with EVgo, ChargePoint, and Greenlots to integrate their charging networks into the My Chevrolet app. The combination will allow Bolt EV customers with model year 2017 or newer access to real-time data on whether the stations are working, available, and compatible with a Bolt EV. The collaborations at this point are exclusively for Bolt owners. Meg Soul, a GM spokeswoman, said further announcements regarding future EV models could be made at a later date. GM has plans to launch at least 20 new all-electric or fuel cell-powered vehicles globally by 2023. GM also expects to create an app interface for all 3 networks to streamline charger access, that is, and potentially allow activation of a charging session using the app instead of a membership card. GM, according to Seoul, is open to adding other EV station providers to the collaborations as the company explores ways to expand EV charging networks. The collaborations at this point do not include building out EV infrastructure, which is viewed as one of the major barriers along with range and price for all electric vehicles. GM expects to finalize, that is, the terms of the collaborations and agreements with EVgo, ChargePoint, and Greenlots by March. Timing of the features for the Chevrolet app will be announced at a later date, according to GM. GM declined to provide any financial details of the partnerships. And on the recall front, Fiat Chrysler Automobiles is recalling about 1.4 million vehicles in the U.S. as part of its final phase to replace Takata passenger side airbag inflators. The callback, January 10th, also involves about 88,830 vehicles in Canada and 12,821 units in Mexico. Affected vehicles are the 2010 Ram 3500 pickup and Ram 45 and 5500 chassis cab, 2010 to 2011 Dodge Dakota pickup, 2010 to 2014 Dodge Challenger Sport Coupe, 2011 to 2015 Dodge Charger sedan, and 2010 to 2015 Chrysler 300 sedan, and last but not least, the 2010 and to 2016 Jeep Wrangler SUV. This is the automaker's 4th and final phase of the Takata airbag recall managed by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. So far, FCA said it has replaced more than 4 million Takata airbags. Faulty Takata airbag inflators may explode and shoot shrapnel across vehicle occupants, potentially resulting in injury or death. FCA said it's unaware of any injuries associated with the passenger side frontal airbag inflators covered in the latest expanded safety recall. Mark Chernaby, FCA's head of North American Safety and Regulatory Compliance, said owners of affected vehicles should contact their dealers for a free replacement. The automaker will notify owners of the affected vehicles by mail when the latest recall is effective. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways.